Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what time it is for you guys. For me, it's around 8:30 Sunday morning. I'm going to try and get this video loaded today. I kind of messed up. I got kind of tunnel visioned into finishing Easter Dragon, which I did. There will be another video going up this week that will be my post review of that kit. And I totally forgot to film my mental health part 5 today. So for those of you who might have been anxiously awaiting to see it this morning, I am so very sorry. But we're going to get it done. So I know I'm usually working on a diamond art while I'm filming, but today I'm going to be kitting down Easter Dragon so that I free up some trays, because I got to start getting prepped for my March events and my March canvases. Yes, I do still have 2 more canvases that I was hoping to finish in February. Cross your fingers, we'll see how it goes. So I could get those trays back. But if not, I did make a pit stop at Harbor Freight yesterday, and hubby bought me 8 storage containers from Harbor Freight. So if worst comes to worst, I will have to shift some things from trays into Harbor Freight if I'm going to have to carry over whips, which is a really good possibility. Had too much pain this month with the hand. Doing better. I am back to wearing a brace. It gets very angry when I don't have the brace on. So the brace helps keep my wrist stabilized and reduces my pain. So we're going to go with that. So mental health part 5. Wow, we have come a long way, guys. What can I say about mental health part 5 now? Today we're going to talk about living with mental health disorders or disabilities or issues or whatever you want to call them. I don't get very hung up on, I hate using the term politically correct jargon, but I mean, I guess in the long run, that's what it boils down to. So please do not take it as me being offensive. Obviously, I'm referring to myself in this regard, and I am not referring to you guys at all. So please don't take offense to anything that I might say or any manner in which I'm speaking. It's how I cope. It's how I deal. My therapist gets very upset because I use the term a lot, I'm going cuckoo, or I'm cray-cray today, meaning I'm crazy today. And she really hates that and finds it derogatory. And I'm like, you know what, though? That allows me to live with it. It helps me. It helps me deal. It helps me adjust. And she finally came around to the fact that I wasn't using it in a derogatory manner towards myself. It was just easier for me to cope with the issues that I was having. You don't know how many times I have heard people, and I've heard myself say it to people, that, well, you know, sorry you're feeling bad, but you need to get up and you need to do whatever. And I've said it in regards to my daughter. Keep in mind, I've only been diagnosed with having a mental disorder well, let me rephrase that. I've only recently, in the past 3 years, what is it, 2024, 2021, 2021. So 3 years that I've been, not even quite 3 years that I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Yes, I suffered from depression, was never diagnosed with anxiety issues or anything like that prior. So, you know, I knew I had depression, but, you know, I had 3 children to take care of. One of them was severely autistic. So I still had to get up and get stuff done. I couldn't lay in bed all day and, you know, wallow or feel sorry for myself or, you know, whatever I might have been feeling at that moment in time. That wasn't an option, you know, for me. And I hate to admit, but it's very true in the fact that, you know, there were many times that my daughter would, you know, she'd come home from school and go straight to bed. She would want to sleep until 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday. There were quite a few times that she would beg and plead with me to not have to go to school because she didn't want to get out of bed. There were many years where she more or less faked an illness so that I would let her stay home from school because she couldn't deal. And, you know, I didn't question it because it's not like she would stay home and she would stay in bed all day. You know, when the kids were homesick from school, unless it was evident, you know, like if they had a high fever, if I was watching them vomit, and hearing them vomit, you know, if they had been diagnosed at the doctors with something, then that was different. If they wanted to lay on the couch or in their bed and watch TV and watch movies, or they wanted to be on their Nintendo, 3DSs or whatever, that was fine because I knew that they were sick. A doctor had told me that they were sick. When there was no evident illness to speak of, then it became a different story. Because I questioned, you know, well, are you really sick or are you faking? And, you know, what's going on here? In case you're wondering what I'm doing, right now, real quick, I'm wiping down the trays with a baby wipe. It just kind of helps a little bit with the static for the next round. And sometimes you get putty from your pen will come off onto the tray, and this way I'm just cleaning it off. So just in case you are watching and wondering, what is she doing? That's what I'm doing. And I neglected to do it on all of them, so I'm going to go back to the ones that I've emptied. My daughter, I figured, okay, well, she must really be sick because she's staying in bed. She's sleeping all day. When in actuality, was she sick physically? No. She was depressed and she was needing a break. I have heard that there are some companies now that offer mental health days. Unfortunately, I don't know of any off the top of my head, but I have heard about the fact that there are some companies now who have designated sick time and have designated certain number of days a year that are designated as mental health days. And a mental health day doesn't even need to be necessarily a day that you can't deal and you're just so depressed you can't get out of bed. Needing a mental health day can be something as simple as You just need a day to reset. You've had a lot of pressure. You've had a lot of things going on. And you just can't deal at the current moment, in the current climate of what's going on in your life. I think we've all experienced that. I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone that doesn't fit that bill. So, you know, it's hard sometimes to be understanding and to realize if you haven't walked a day in their shoes and you haven't experienced what they are experiencing, how do you know what someone does or does not need? Are you a doctor? Are you inside their head? You know, I don't think so. I know I'm not. So, you know, I wasn't inside my daughter's head. There are those that, you know how they have the term functioning alcoholic to refer to someone that might be an alcoholic, but yet they still get up, they still go to work every day, they do their job, they pay their bills, they provide for their family, you know, whatever the case may be. Well, in my opinion, there are what you could call and relate to as functioning depressives, I guess, or people that have depression but can function through it. They can get through the everyday stuff. They can be depressed, they can be suffering in silence, but yet they can get up, go to work every day, do their job to the best of their ability, and, you know, move on. My daughter is not one of them. Or I should say she wasn't. I shouldn't really make that decision for her right now. Because I know that there has been days that my daughter is having a great, and I am talking about my youngest. Sorry, I should have specified that. I'm talking about Emily. I know that there are days where she would much rather stay in bed and sleep all day to reset her clock than get up and go to work. However, she is an adult now, and she recognizes the fact that the ability to do that does not always exist. You don't always have the option to do that. She has bills to pay. Unfortunately, at the current moment, at her job, if she doesn't go to work, she does not get paid. She's a part-time employee. She does not get sick time. She does not get vacation days. So if she doesn't go to work and calls out sick, she's not making any money. And she is a struggling grad student. She has a lot of bills, and she needs to be able to pay them. So she's found ways to be able to cope until she gets to the weekend. Or she will come home from work. If she does not have class that evening, she lays down and she takes a nap. And does that throw her off? I think it does. She doesn't. Because I have witnessed her lay down, take a nap at 4 o'clock, not get up till 6 or 7. Because whereas a nap for me is, I consider a nap 1.5 to 2 hours, somewhere in that ballpark. Emily considers a nap anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 hours long. So there are times when and then I've seen her turn around and she's totally ready to go back to sleep at, whatever o'clock. 9, 10 o'clock at night. And that's how she recharges. I've seen her sleep away an entire Saturday. And for the longest time, I didn't understand that. It was, Emily, get your ass out of bed. I don't know how many times as a parent I said that. Do I have regret for saying that? Oh, yes. Yes, I do. Especially considering I know now how much she was struggling at some of those junctures in her life. But you know what? She didn't tell me. I can't read minds. So I chalked it up to her just being a lazy teenager. I'm sure that there are probably mothers of teenagers who are watching this right now, who are now sitting there wondering, wow, did I mess that up? I know I did. I know I have. Just know if you are having those thoughts and feelings, you're not alone. I'm right there with you. Does that mean that I was a terrible mother? No, it doesn't mean I was a terrible mother. I was a terrible mother for other reasons. And I say that half laughing and half joking about it because it's one of those things where, as a parent, we always question whether or not we were a good parent or not. Did I do that right? Did I not do that right? Unless you are one of those parents who doesn't really care. And I'm pretty sure that anyone that is watching this video is not one of those types of parents. I would be highly surprised. Most of my good subscribers that have been with me, you guys have reached out. I have talked to you on a more private note for a lot of you. And I know that you do care. I've seen how much you've shown your care and concern for me, and I'm a stranger. So I am certain that if you have children, that you have at least as much, if not way more, love and concern and care for your own children. So I am by no means calling anyone a bad parent, because I would be right there with you. Ms. Coffee says something at the end of her videos, and I'm not going to say I'm quoting her, and I'm not, because I couldn't even begin to tell you exactly what it is that she says, but she says something along the lines of being kind to those that you come into contact with, because you don't know what their day has been like. And I am 100% guilty of not considering that and not taking that into consideration. If I'm out and about and I'm running errands and I come across someone who is providing me customer service and they are doing less than a stellar job at it, I know for a fact I've been snippy, I've been snotty, I have walked away going, well, I don't know what her problem is. And that, even though I didn't mean it in a caring manner, because hello, treatment goal, of how to better and more appropriately have social engagement with people outside my family. And that's a new goal. So right now I'm at 0%. So success in that department. So cut me some slack here, guys, which I'm sure you are. But, you know, you don't know what their day has been like. Maybe somebody spit on them. Maybe they're sick. You know, maybe they physically feel like crap. And I know that when I'm sick, I am grumpy as all get out. I have no patience for intolerance. I have no patience. You know, whereas when Atlas starts barking randomly for no apparent reason, it annoys the living crap out of me. When I am feeling my best, well, if it already annoys me when I feel good, can you imagine how it makes me feel when I'm not feeling good? You know, I want to reach down his throat and grab his vocal cords and rip them out. You know, that's how I feel when I'm not feeling good and he just won't stop. You know, that's when the threats of, I'm sending you to the pound, start coming into play, because I cannot deal, people. I can't. That is just what you need to consider and think. And, you know, we can't all do it. We can't all do all the things all the time. You know, life is too difficult. Life is too complicated. There's too much going on. We don't all have the time to sit back and say, oh, I wonder what they're going through today. It becomes a matter of just try and practice being kind. That's it. Just try to practice being kind, being your best self as much and as often as you can. Are we going to fail? Yes. But we're also going to have some successes. And I don't know about you, but personally, I would rather be able to sit back and say to my therapist that when she asks me in 6 months and we have to review my treatment plan, she's going to go and ask me, well, what do you think? Do you think that you have improved in this department, in your social engagement with other people? I would rather be able to say 5% than 0. But, you know, that's just me. Maybe you're okay with being able to say no improvement, 0, zilch. And I've been there, not necessarily for this particular topic because this is brand new, but when I was talking about having social engagement with my own family, took 2 years before I ever gave myself a positive. And yes, I said give myself. Does my therapist chime in? Yes, she does. And there's been times when she has gone and said, Heather, you're being a little hard on yourself, because, you know, there have been many times over the past, you know, however long it has been, that you told me about circumstances and situations where you had positive engagement with your family and you did things differently. So I think you're being a little hard on yourself. All right, fine, whatever. 3% then. 3% is better than 0. It's like I used to say to my kids, if they missed an assignment and they went back to their teacher and their teacher stated that they would, yes, they would accept an assignment late, but they were going to lose points on it. And I remember both of my children, William and Emily, or two of my children. Guys, just for the sake, I hold Samantha separately because she is autistic. She is never lumped in, so to speak, to my general conversation when I'm talking about my children. You could say she holds a special place in my heart with that. She's just on a different scale. So if I say both my children, please don't take that as I'm discounting Samantha. It's also kind of the deal where William and Emily are 22 months to the day apart. There's 7 years difference between Samantha and her younger brother, and William, my middle child. So it's kind of a generational gap there too, sort of. So that's part of it as well. But I'm not discounting Samantha. She just doesn't fall into this equation because of her autism. So just putting that disclaimer out there. But I know for a fact I've heard it from both of my kids, and I've said to them, you know what? Your grades are based on a point system. Getting an F and having a 42% is better than having a 0. Because that's 42 points you didn't have. Whereas that 42 points can make the difference. I know for a fact my son, had situations where he literally had an 89.98% in one of his college courses, and he got a B+, not an A, not an A-. They did not round up. They don't do it in college. Most colleges don't do it. We'll put it that way. I don't want to say that blanketed across, any and all colleges. But Virginia Tech did not do that. They did not round up. Where having that 42 points as opposed to a 0 would have made a difference. So it happens. So don't discount yourself, even if you've only had one positive of a goal that you have set, and you only do it and achieve success once. That's still not 0. Give yourself credit for that. It's hard. It's hard living with mental health issues. There is still a stigma surrounding them and regarding them. Not as much as in the past. In past years, it has definitely improved over time. Even improved since 2020. But there is still a stigma about it, especially in certain situations and certain demographics. There is still existing stigma behind having a, mental disorder. A lot of people have a stigma with mental disorders regarding taking medication. And I'm going to use a real life one. No, not me. My husband. For years, it was evident that my husband suffered from mental health issues. If you've been following my channel, you are fully aware of that fact. My husband is an alcoholic. Alcohol is his coping mechanism because he doesn't talk about and he doesn't deal with his emotions or his stress. He buries it down and then tries and drinks it away on the weekend. Years ago, I begged, borrowed, and pleaded with him to talk to his doctor that he needed to be on something to help him, an antidepressant. He refused to. I'm not taking anything that's going to change my brain, is what he said. And I clearly and distinctly remember having the discussion with him. Do you take high blood pressure medication? Yes. What's the difference? One is changing my brain chemistry, and the other one is regulating my blood pressure. It's changing and altering how your blood flows in your body. Why do you take high cholesterol medication? Because it helps bring down and break apart your cholesterol. Why do you take pain medication? It helps dull the nerve endings and your nerve signals, your pain receptors, so that your body is not in trauma and shock and can heal itself. Anytime you take medication for anything, it's altering things in your body because they're not right to begin with. People take high blood pressure medication because they have high blood pressure because their body is not functioning correctly. People who suffer from depression, their brain's chemistry is not releasing the correct chemicals and hormones and things like that that they need in order to be able to not be depressed. It's no different. He had this huge fear that by taking an antidepressant, that was going to somehow make him a different person. It's going to make you a less depressed person. Depression is not something that I think, if you believe in God, I don't think God set out and said, well, you know what? I think the world needs some depressed people. So I'm going to, make some of these people depressed. No, I don't think that was on his agenda. Could I be wrong? Well, of course I could be wrong. I haven't had a conversation with God. I don't know. We haven't sat down and talked about it and discussed it. So does that possibility exist that God wanted to put depressed people on the planet? Yeah, maybe. But I highly doubt it. But what he did do is he created human beings that decided to strive for wanting to help people. And they became doctors and they did research. And they found ways to be able to provide those chemicals or regulate those chemicals in your brain so that they could come up with a medication that would help those of us who got a bum deal and had brains that weren't functioning the way they're supposed to, so they didn't have to suffer with depression. They had something that they could take to make things better. Does my husband take medication now? Yes, he finally came around. You might be saying, well, isn't he still an alcoholic? You can't break that addiction. Not that way anyway. But I can tell the difference when he stops taking his medication, because he has done that from time to time, and when he's on it, because there's a major difference. I myself have recently discovered I've been taking, when I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, with bipolar disorder tendencies. There are a lot of similarities between BPD and BPD. I love how they have the same initials. That just cracks me up. Between borderline personality disorder and bipolar disorder. I would have what is constituted as bipolar 2. I do not have heightened states of mania. I don't ever have that. I have periods of low depression, but I don't have periods of heightened mania. I do have an addiction. I have an addiction to shopping. When I feel bad, I buy things. It makes me happy. It releases dopamine in my brain. It helps me cope with feeling worthless, feeling like I'm a piece of crap, feeling like the world would be a better place without me in it. Which is a symptom of and is something that happens with people with BPD and bipolar. Well, I have emotional reactivity. I become overly emotional when things happen, when crises come up, and I have difficulty functioning and letting those emotions take control of my mind, my body, my life. So there is no medication to treat borderline personality disorder. There are, however, lots of, well, I shouldn't say lots. There's a handful of drugs that you can take to help regulate mood. So we did Depakote. I gained 30 pounds in less than a month. I was like, no. I was already overweight and I became even more overweight. Which of course jeopardizes my health in other ways. So it was, no, this one's not working. Took Lamictal. Nope. Didn't do anything. Did not help me. Did nothing to help my mood. My doctor put me on amitriptyline, I guess maybe about a year ago. I guess it's been about a year now. Close to it, somewhere in that ballpark. And I wasn't real sure whether or not the medication was working and if it was helping. Oh, hell to the yes. It was working and helping. How do I know? Because when I had the edema, at my last appointment, the beginning of February that I had with my primary care, she had, well, let me back up. When she first prescribed the amitriptyline, she said it can be given 3 times a day. However, at the time, I was only taking medications twice a day, you know, morning and bedtime. And she's like, it's very difficult for people to remember to take a midday dose of stuff. So let's just do morning and evening. Okay. If I found that it was helping and I needed more, then we could add the midday dose. Okay. Sounds good to me. Well, things have been a little tough lately. So and I've been having a little more difficulty regulating my mood. So at my last checkup with her, the beginning of February, I said, hey, I'm already taking pain medication 4 times a day. So I have alarms set, etc. I've got a pill case that each day has 4 slots for each day. would it be possible for me to add that third dose of amitriptyline to see if that helped? Sure. Okay. Well, it took a couple days to get the prescription, and for me to go be able to go get the prescription. And I finally got around to it, and I took it, and then the very next day is when the edema started. Well, I automatically assumed it was from increasing the amitriptyline. Looked it up. Amitriptyline can cause edema and feet swelling, ankle swelling, leg swelling. That must be it. So I stopped taking my amitriptyline. Well, things weren't getting better. My doctor then went and said to me, she's like, Heather, you're taking Lamictal. Lamictal does that big time. You need to stop the Lamictal. I'm like, but I've been taking the Lamictal for a month now, and the edema just started. And she's like, yeah, and people have taken it for years, and then all of a sudden get edema, and it's from the Lyrica. Okay. So I stopped that too. And I decided that I was just going to come off of both of them, wait for the edema to go down, and then I would slowly start to reintroduce the amitriptyline. Well, I ended up speeding up that process of restarting the amitriptyline because it became extremely evident very quickly that I was not on that medication right now. So if I had any doubt whatsoever that the amitriptyline was working, those doubts were erased. My mood went in the toilet. I had no filter. I had completely lost the ability to regulate my emotions. I couldn't take a breath, take a beat before reacting and responding, which is vital with my mental disorder if I want to maintain any type of healthy relationships. I had some of my new friends, my newfound friends. Hi, Sue. I'm talking about you. Did she go and say, hey, Heather, you're being a bitch? No, she did not say that. But I made the comment that I wasn't feeling really well and I was really struggling mentally. And she went, I know. She could hear it. She could see it in the way I was talking, the way I was responding to statements. I was short-tempered, bossy, wanted to remain in control, you know, all the things. So there was no doubt in Sue's mind, nor mine, that the amitriptyline was working. No doubt whatsoever. So I did not wait for the edema to go all the way down before restarting, because it became evident that if I didn't get back on that medication soon, I wasn't going to have a marriage left. Things were getting heated, and my husband was losing patience with me rapidly. And it becomes a vicious cycle because he was drinking more to be able to cope with me. However, when he increases his drinking, that triggers me more, which makes me more upset to begin with. So it's this vicious cycle where we end up just triggering each other back and forth and back and forth. It is what it is. It's hard living, dealing, and coping with mental health. I can't hold a job. I have been let go from 2 jobs since I returned to the workforce. I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years. I returned back to the workforce on a full-time, well, it was still part-time, but where I had to go into an office. Yes, I had a small stint of a year and a half where I worked at a church in their church office, and I only worked part-time. I only went in twice a week. The third day, I worked from home. Then I went back to being a stay-at-home mom for 5 or 6 more years. And then I went back to work part-time, but in the office at my daughter's school. And up until 2 years ago, year and a half ago, I've worked continuously since then. The first job was working in the special education department at my kids' high school, and in the same department that Samantha had gone through when she was still high school age. Well, I got, more or less, I got fired. Now, did it say I got fired? No. I was told in the middle of a workday that my position was no longer needed and that I could go home. You might be going, huh? I don't understand. Well, what in fact happened was the fact that my boss, I was having a particularly crappy day. It was a Monday. That morning, my boss was talking to one of the special education teachers, and she was taking credit for something that I had done right in front of me. I lost it. I was in a bad mood. I was less than pleased with the fact that I did that work. I worked hard for that, and she's now going to take credit for it. What should have happened is that what I should have done was when the teacher left that she was speaking to, I should have at that point in time gone and said to my boss, you know, I don't even know, something along the lines of what would have been appropriate would have been for me to say something along the lines of, you know, I don't appreciate you taking credit for something that I did. Something along those lines is what should have happened, or I should have said. Privately, when it was just the two of us. Instead, I am sick and tired of me doing all the work and you taking all the flipping credit. I don't take credit for the crap you do. Oh, wait, you don't do anything. I was yelling. I was screaming at the only thing that probably saved me from a major disorder or disciplinary action to the point of like maybe the police being called was the fact that the morning bell had rung, lockers were being opened and closed, and it was very noisy in the hallway. Because the door was open. Well, at the moment when this was taking place and happening, the vice principal was walking past our door. And she heard everything I said. Well, she didn't really care about what I said as of how I was saying it. Like, she didn't care about the fact that I was complaining that she had taken credit for work I had done. What she cared about was the fact that I was screaming and yelling at my boss in front of teachers and in earshot of students. I was being insubordinate. I was causing a scene. I didn't give a crap at that moment in time. Could have cared less. I thought they were completely wrong. What do you mean I'm being let go? My position's not needed. Which was BS because the very next day they had someone filling in and then they ended up hiring someone new, you know, but whatever. I don't know if they felt that they were doing me a benefit by being able to say that I wasn't fired or whether it was to avoid having to pay unemployment. I don't know. But I got fired. Not immediately. It happened a couple hours later. I guess they had to get all their ducks in a row. In the meantime, I had calmed down. And I realized that I had acted inappropriately. Keep in mind, was not diagnosed with anything at that point in time, not even depression. And I went to my supervisor, my boss, and I said, Regina, I am very sorry. I don't know what came over me. I am sorry for how I acted and what I said. I hope you can forgive me. Well, her immediate response at that moment in time was, I really wish you would have said that earlier, because she had been down in the vice principal's office, and I guess they had been asking her what she wanted to do, how she wanted to handle the situation, and she said, I want her gone. Well, paperwork had already been drawn up. That's why it took a couple hours. There was no going back now. So I was done. Now, I've told this, scenario and situation to my therapist. She's aware of it. And she's actually made the comment that she was impressed at the fact that I was able to recognize at the time, the same day, that my behavior was inappropriate. That was pretty impressive. I don't know that I saw anything impressive about it. But, okay. You say so. I snapped. I lost my job at the art studio that I worked at because I was fed up, I was pissed off, and I was discovered on camera. We had a video audio security system at the shop, and the owner of the store would occasionally of the art studio I ran, I was the office manager, studio manager, would occasionally pop in to take a look at what was going on in the studio. And she happened to be popping in to see what was going on because it was an extremely busy day and night. It was right before our big Easter rush. We were moving into a new location, so things were really hectic. She had informed us and told us all, we all knew that the system was there, but we were told it was video only. Well, Emily and I were complaining. We were complaining about the fact that our boss only cared about what her family needed. And keep in mind that the boss was supposedly my best friend, too. We had been friends since high school. But if it came to missing time with her family, yeah, that wasn't happening. But I was supposed to drop everything so that I could be there so she could do stuff for her family. And I'd had enough. I was fed up. I was fed up with the selfishness, etc. And I said so. Now, haven't we all, at one point in time, most people have complained about their employer in some way, shape, or form? I was not complaining in front of employees. The store was closed. The shop was closed. It was 11 o'clock at night. I still had an hour's drive home. And then I had to turn around and come back and be there at 7 o'clock the next day. That was part of the reason why I was pissed off. Turned out there was audio too. The boss knew it, but she didn't bother to tell us. And actually, in the state of Maryland, it is illegal to record someone with audio without them knowing about it. And there was no sign. There was no, anything to tell us that there was audio. No sooner did I get in my car for me and my daughter to go home, my phone rang and I was just summarily fired, myself and my daughter, for bitching about our bosses. That makes 2. The next job I got was working as a temp for the Rite Aid Corporation here in Pennsylvania. My boss, who I loved dearly, had been fired. And one of her underlings, who I did not get along with, had been promoted to her position. Well, the woman that had hired me, Robin, she had been fighting to make my position permanent and not as a temp, so that I would get benefits, increase in pay, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Amanda, the person who took over after they fired and let Robin go, her and I didn't get along. Well, she gave my job to somebody else and then expected me, because I was a temp, to train her in my job. I basically told her she could go to hell. And so I lost my job. No filter, no ability to realize that that was inappropriate, et cetera, et cetera. It was all her fault. What do you mean it's my fault? No, it's not, et cetera, et cetera. After that, I went to work for the state. I was kicking ass and taking names during the pandemic. Well, I'd been working from home the whole time from the pandemic. And now all of a sudden, We had the ability to continue to telework, but turned out that it was up to each individual. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get the drills that were stuck. It was up to each department head whether or not they deemed your job capable of being able to do it from home. There was nothing about my job that required me to have to be in the office. But because the higher ups in my department liked to micromanage, bully, and intimidate their employees, they said, nope, can't do our jobs in public or from home. Why? Gave a whole bunch of bullshit reasons that did not exist. I started having panic attacks about having to go back into the office because prior to the pandemic, when I was working in the office there, I was bullied and intimidated by my employer to the point that I don't know how many times my boss's boss made me cry. And my immediate boss was a wuss and would not stand up to and did not have the backs of her underlings and of her subordinates. So it was not an ideal situation. It was not a pretty situation whatsoever. I went back to work for 2 weeks. The ceiling in my bedroom and in my son's room collapsed from water damage. My dog was very sick and was losing his ability to walk. I snapped. Things were bad with my husband and I snapped. I had the second nervous mental breakdown of my life. I went out on short-term disability and never returned to that job. Took a position elsewhere where I was supposed to be able to telework permanently from home. About a year after, well, no, I was out for about 5 months. Took a position in another department because I worked for the state. And a year into that, or no, about 9 months into that position, was told that I was going to have to go back into the office for training for 3 to 6 months. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. I had words with my supervisor, basically letting her know how detrimental that this would be to my mental health, that it was not safe for other people to be around me. Not because I would cause them physical harm necessarily, but because of the fact that I would quite possibly cause them mental or emotional harm. She told me I was done for the day and that until my doctor signed off that it was okay for me to return to work, not to bother coming back. Well, guess what? I never came back. That was September 22nd of 2022, and I have been out since then. I've been on long-term disability for over a year. In the state of Pennsylvania, the contract is long-term disability will only pay for long-term disability for mental health benefits for 24 months. My 24th month will be November of this year. I have been trying to get Social Security disability and have been summarily jerked around with that. I am waiting to have my administrative hearing. My therapist has made it abundantly clear in her case notes that there is no way that I can do a job where I have to interact with anyone, even over the phone. I don't know of a job that you can do where you don't have to have any communication with people, period. I can't have communication with employers. I mean, all three of the jobs that I have basically lost have all been because of issues between myself and my boss. Since I've been out, I have also had all of these health things come to a head. But because the time frame and everything for my disability has been solely based on mental health reasons, my physical issues under this claim cannot be taken into consideration. I'm at the last appeal for my claim for mental health reasons. If I'm denied this time around, then I can proceed to file a new claim for physical reasons. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. Living with mental health disabilities are hard. You don't know what anyone else is going through. It's hard to have a job. It is hard to have a family. It is hard. What does my future hold for me? Have no flipping clue. Oh, look at how I just mixed a whole bunch of drills together. That's so nice. Not. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what the future holds for me. I take each day one day at a time. I used to worry. I used to worry from one moment to the next what was going to happen. But I have learned that I have to relinquish control. I have learned that I can't control the actions of other people. I might sure as hell want to. And yes, I sure as hell do want to. But I can't. People are not puppets for me to pull on their strings and make them do what I want them to do. Boy, do I wish they were. I'm sure a lot of us might feel that way. But they're not. Whereas, if you're going into a store and someone is coming out of the store at the same time and they see you are in a wheelchair, or they see that you're on crutches, or they see that you have your hand in a brace, they can look at you and say, oh wow, that person's injured. Let me hold the door open for them. When you have a mental health disorder, there's no outward, visible signs that there's something wrong with you. It's all internal. There is nothing to say, hey, I really need you to hold that door open for me. Do I need them to hold the door open for me because I'm physically not capable of it? No. I mean, technically I am now, yes. But I'm just talking in general. No. But that simple act of kindness of holding the door open for you might change your perspective, might give you hope. There is a wonderful person named Laura who saw that I was looking for done decorating for Samantha, for my oldest, and contacted me and said, hey, I have that painting. I'd like to send it to you for your daughter. No cost, no charge. She wouldn't even take me covering shipping for it. My good friend Laureen, who I didn't know until this channel, wanted to buy all of the Little Diamonds Peanuts ones that came out for Samantha. Ended up, because I had already purchased them, getting her Sesame Street and Harry Potter paintings. I had lost all hope in humanity that there were good, decent, selfless people in the world. Their simple act of kindness changed my thought, changed my impression, made me believe that there were good, decent people out there again. People that weren't greedy, people that weren't in it for the money, people that saw someone else in need and was able to help them. I try and shop from small businesses for that simple fact. I've noticed that a lot of them have started putting, when you check out, that there's an area to leave a tip. I have gotten to the point where I round up now to the nearest $5. So, for instance, if my order is $33 and something, I'll round up to $35. If I can spend $34 or $33 or whatever on something, then I can afford to throw another $2 toward that shop. I've been destashing over the past 6 months a lot of my kits, some of my trays, some pens, etc. And I don't think people realize, you know, for starters, at least for me, I always mark, if the kit is still in stock, I will list the painting for anywhere from $5 to $10 cheaper. Because, in all honesty for myself, if the kit is in stock and I can get reward points and free shipping if I can hit that threshold, I'd rather do that than not get reward points. So I get that. However, there are those, if the kit is out of stock, I will list it most likely for what it sells for normally, or possibly at the most $5 more. there are a few kits that I have sold for maybe $10 or $15 more because they were archived kits. I'm not going to sell like I see some people putting the Mandy Manzanos and selling them for $300-400. I just noticed this morning that someone had listed one of them and was comparing destashing it on one of the Facebook destash pages for what someone was selling it for on eBay. That is I have my own feelings about what that is. I essentially don't want to lose money on the paintings that I am selling. What a lot of people don't realize if they've never destashed before is, for example, if I sell you a painting and you buy a painting I'm destashing, and let's say that it's a painting that was normally $74.99. You ask me if I'll take, and let's say I was asking $75 for it because it's out of stock, or $80 for it. Will you take $65 for it? If it's been up for a while and I haven't had any bites and I really want to just move it and get it gone, okay, sure. I'm not going to get $65 for the kit. Immediately off the bat, PayPal is going to take somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 to $5 in fees. So now the kit's only worth $60. Then I have to pay for shipping. Now, yes, I make people pay separately for shipping. I started rounding up to the nearest dollar and then adding $1 because I'm paying for packing tape, I'm paying for bubble wrap, I'm paying for packing materials in general. That adding anywhere from $1 to $1.49 being the most that it would ever be over, I think people can understand for packing materials. I'm still out about $6 or $7 at this point. And then there's the fact that if I need the money right away, which I have rectified this issue at the moment, but if I needed the money right away and needed to move it into my bank account and I couldn't wait a couple of days, which has been the case numerous times, or until recently, the only way that I could get the funds out of PayPal to be able to use to pay my Afterpays and Sezzles that I ran up for myself. I then have to lose more money to have it transferred instantly to my bank account. Now, of course, if I can wait and have it done over a couple of days, then it's free. I have rectified that, as in I got a PayPal debit card. So now I can leave the money in there and then use it as a credit card. But we lose money on the listings. We lose money when we sell. We're not getting that price. I mean, for example, the other day, someone had to pay me $123 for a tray tower and 16 trays. When I got done taking out the amount for shipping and then all the fees that were taken out of for various things from PayPal, I actually profited $79.52. If those trays had been bought new and the tray tower new She had close to $300 in merchandise that I sold her for $123. 36 of that was shipping, or no, yes, no, I don't remember. Anyway, you see my point here. Things get very, it's not that clear cut. We get hit with a lot of stuff. And then, of course, it's my time as well, which you never get reimbursed for your time. That just doesn't happen. And keep in mind that when I destash stuff, for me personally, I'm destashing it because I need the money. Me destashing Bellatrix, that's the only time where I am destashing and putting it right back into, because I'm replacing trays. I don't want the regular trays like this. Now, I'm not destashing this because it is an event tray, so I hold on to my event trays. But if this was a regular large tray, because I like the grid trays better, so I want to have all grid trays. But anything else that I destash, I'm getting rid of because I need the money. Because I can't pay my bills. Okay. This is the, well, no, I lied. I was about to say this is my last one, folks, but no. It is a struggle to live with a mental disorder. People can't read your mind. They don't know how you're feeling. They don't know what you're thinking about. And some of us can't tell you every day, all day long, what we're going through. Sometimes we don't even know what we're going through. We just know we're sad. We just know we're upset. We just know that we're anxious. We can't tell you why. If we knew the answer to that, then, we probably wouldn't have a mental disorder. I don't know. Be kind. Be generous with your time, with your money, with your love, with your life. Life is too short and too precious to not try and be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. I suffer from borderline personality disorder, bipolar tendencies, complex trauma, panic attacks, high anxiety. And I do my damnedest to try to be as kind, generous, and giving as I can be. It hurts me emotionally when I can't do more for others than what I am capable of at that time. That is a struggle that I live with as well. I want to give back as much as I can, and I try to give back as much as I can. But I can't always give back as much as I want to. I am very hard on other people. I am terrible. If I am upset about something because something is messed up or something isn't right, and I have to physically call and speak to someone for customer service, I am usually not the nicest person in the world. I'm trying, and I'm trying to remember that, and I am trying to find that grace. I am trying to find the strength to not be harsh on people. It's hard, guys. It's really hard. It is a struggle. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy to constantly have to stop and check myself at the door like I do with other things. I don't have any answers. If I did, I wouldn't be here sharing my struggles. It wouldn't happen. I wouldn't need to because I wouldn't have any struggles if I had all the answers. At the end of the day, all I can do and say is that living with anxiety, panic attacks, a mental health disorder, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, anything, it's hard. It's draining. It's exhausting. And if I could wave a magic wand and make it go away, oh, God knows I would. I live every day with the knowledge of how my actions in the past have affected the people that I love. How my actions have shaped who my children have become, who my husband has become. And it's not all good. I wish that I could take it all back. I wish I could rewind the clock and I could do it differently. But I can't. None of us can. All we can do is ask for forgiveness and try to do better the next time. And that is the struggle that I live with every day. I've taken accountability for my actions in the past. I've asked for forgiveness for my actions in the past. I can't change any of it. But I can try and make today and tomorrow better and different. I can try and do better the next time I am in those positions or face those issues. I love my family. There is nothing in this world that I wouldn't do for them. I have come to care about so many of you watching, listening, so very much. Jackie, Jess, Christy, Sue, Pat, Elizabeth, Mackenzie, Shay, and many, many more of you who have stuck with me, who have reached out to me, whether it be via email or Facebook, or just your continuous support and commenting on my videos. You are a part of my life. You are a part of my present and a part of my future. And I am so grateful to have all of you. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I was gonna sit here and start to cry. So that wasn't part of the plan here. I should be crying for joy because, yay, I'm done kidding down. It's my least favorite part of diamond painting. I love kitting up. I love working on the painting, but I despise with a passion kitting down. Hate it. But you guys made it easier by me being able to sit here and film this video while I did it. So thank you for that. I'm going to wrap it up now. This isn't going to be a 2.5 hour one like the last one. We are over an hour and a half though. But we are going to wrap it up. Going forward, from now on, Sundays are just going to kind of be a mental health check-in. They will be much shorter videos, and it'll just be me kind of checking into how my week went as far as from a mental health standpoint. I'm going to leave my whip-in chats more to events and actions that have happened, as opposed to how those events and actions have affected my mental health. And that's going to kind of stay here with this one. I have decided for right now that I am not going to be going live at the current moment. Mainly because I'm afraid of nobody showing up. So I think I'm going to wait until I get a little bit larger following. And then possibly look at doing it then. So on that note, I don't do my plugins for my other social media platforms and or my donation or drawings and whatnot. So there will be some information about that down in the comments below, or in the description below, I should say. Please do hit that like button. If you have gotten anything out of this and you made it all the way to the end, leave me an animal emoji. I don't care which one it is. Something cute. Monkey, tiger, cat, dog, whatever. But a fur baby kind of thing. If you are not subscribed and you find any of this content helpful, or you like me maybe just a little, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to my channel. You can then hit the bell to be notified of whenever I put up new content. I will have quite a few things going up this week, so it will be a busy week. So look forward to that. Once again, I apologize for this not being up and ready on Sunday morning, since I didn't even film it until Sunday morning. The week kind of got away from me. So I will talk to you all soon, and I will see you in other videos sooner, but I will be back next Sunday with a check-in. Take care, all. I love you all. You mean the world to me. Bye, guys.